Welcome to the Mentor Studio, where today's thought leaders and leading entrepreneurs inspire and bring real-world ideas that help you take your career to levels you've only dreamed of. Now buckle in. Here's your host, Michael Silvers.
Hi, everyone. This is Michael Silvers with the Mentor Studio. For a minute, I forgot who I was and where I am. Isn't that great? So, what's great about what's going on is we remember, the homes that we're in. I know my home better than I ever have in my whole life because literally for the last 15 years, my wife and I have not lived here because we've been traveling. So, I found things that I didn't remember I even had. And it's about what you make of any situation and are you still making a difference? So with the Mentor Studio, if you want to know more about the mentors and really what we're doing, and we're going to put more mission-driven information on the site, just go to thementorstudio.com because that's where you can sort of see. Yes, that's thementorstudio.com. Very good. How many S's? No matter whether you type it, you'll still get to the same place. So, but it really is about being mission-driven, and the mission is really the strategy to get you there. But the vision is to take this worldwide message of mentoring all around the world. And we're not going to tell people what to do. What we're going to do is have them go along with us and drive it into villages and take it into the world and really make sure that they're teaching themselves and that we're not, because we can't teach everybody, but if we can teach one and they teach a million, life is good. So I want to thank you all today. It's going to be really exciting because there's always changes. There's always things going on. But today I have an amazing couple, and I'm going to let them, as we always know, earn the right, why they're even here and why they're going to be on. And you want to hear this information, have fun during it. We have fun on the show all the time, and they're really part of the team. They're part of the Mentor Studio. They're mentors on the Mentor Studio, and they just will take your world, your life to the next level. But I'm going to let them talk a little bit about that. Let's give a big round of applause for Scott and Nancy. Hello, you two.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for having us.
It's a great day. Look, we got some sunshine. We've had some rain. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. That's as close as I get, in case we got any stalkers out there. But, it's a great day because we're alive. We're alive. Our eyes opened, and hopefully we're being of service to at least one person today. So tell us a little bit about your guys' background and what you do.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I come from New York. I grew up in New York, and I come from the film industry of 30 years. I was a special effects coordinator and also owned a rock climbing gym and adventure guide service. And the more I learned about human behavior in the film industry, the more I saw how we, the humans just walking around, were just characters. And the things that we did and said and how we could uncover that for folks. And so I took my human behavior part of what I learned in the movie industry and turned it into a coaching business so that we could help more and more people to live their best life.
Yeah. And for me, I'm also from up north. I'm from Rhode Island. I come from a female-dominated family. I'm one of 5 girls. I'm the baby. So I have a very unique perspective on women is what I've learned throughout my life. How I think is usually a little bit different than the other women in my life. And that's kind of always been my pinpoint. And I've turned it into a career. So now I help women who are struggling to find their true authentic self, find the love of their life, have their best life. And now I get to do it with my husband, Scott, and we get to be the model of what we are helping people to find, so for us together, it's living that every day authentically so we can help people in the best way possible.
That's fantastic. We're going to jump into that in a minute, but I can't let go of this part. So, New York. Are you really from New York? Are we talking the Mets? Are we talking the Dodgers? Are we talking the Yankees? You know what I'm saying?
We're talking the Mets.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine because that's the whole Seinfeld side anyway. So the Mets are all right. So, it's still all Dodgers for my family. Can you tell where they were from?
Right.
So we'll let go of that. And Rhode Island, what a great state to come from, because if you're driving through it and you blink, you're in the next state. But, but I've heard it's the best people on the planet. That's what I've heard. Everybody from Rhode Island says we are the friendliest, nicest people on the planet.
It is.
Right?
It's a wonderful place. It's just cold a little bit longer than I like. So I don't live there anymore. But
you hightailed it. I know. Right. That's okay. That's a good thing. Look, I was born and raised in LA and I'm going the other way. So,
right.
but it's, it's the kind of thing about, with relationships and in relation, everything is a relationship. What people understand is when you really find who you are, it's how you deal then with business, how you deal with children, grandchildren, nephews, nieces, aunts, cousins, people walking on the street, socially distanced and masked. Can you believe that's going to be heard 6 years from now? But, at the same time, relationships are the basis of everything we do in this life. And it's those fractured pieces or pieces that sometimes stop us from moving forward, or a decision that we're still making not to move forward. Really down this path you both went, and also talk a little bit about too, because I'll open this in a second, that it's not always easy. Nothing is easy. It's not about being easy ever. It's just building more tools in your tool belt to get through whatever the times are. But also, what great, either right now podcast is sort of, as this is the Midwest term, cranking your tractor, or what book you read that started you down this path?
That started us down the path of coaching.
Yep. Of what you're doing currently right now. Yep.
Yeah. So for me, it was a biography of a yogi by Yogananda. Mm-hmm. And I found my place. I've always been very spiritual. And I found that a big part of my life was very self-centered and selfish. Mm-hmm. And I truly came to a point where I needed something else. And what I found was through that book was what I was searching for as being of service. And the way that I can be of service is I take people on adventures and not only change your mindset, but your physiology. Mm-hmm. And so when I read that book and I recognized the gift that I was given, that this is a gift I can give away, and I can give it away to everybody that I meet. And so for me, that was the push. Mm.
Yeah, for me, it was my mother. She really was a life coach before life coaches were a thing. She was of service to everyone and anyone that she came across. If she went to a gas station, sometimes it would be a 2-hour conversation with the guy behind the counter because something would come up, and we'd be sitting there as teenagers like, come on, Mom, but she had so many people. She passed away about 10 years ago, and there was a line out the door of people that were strangers to us, but that she touched. And after that, when I came across Tony Robbins for the first time, it was really mm-hmm. the closest thing that I had ever heard towards how my mother thought and taught about life. And I realized, wow, you can actually do this as a career. I've been helping people my whole life with advice, but why not get strategic on it? And then it just turned the corner after that, and it really became something.
Yeah, it's also, you mentioned also too, just about meditation and spirituality. This is more for them, everyone, because you guys aren't going to see this, but I could always post it in the group. My cousin, actually, I might have told you, my cousin was actually he was actually the first Zen Roshi in the United States. And he created the Zen Peacekeeper movement with Jeff Bridges, which was, really they were the first group that way back in the 70s, they got a group of Zen Buddhists together, Buddhist monks and Roshis with Jewish rabbis and with Catholic priests. And so they created, and in New York, they had this whole meeting. It was one of the first like that. Right off J. Paul II and all the changes that were coming in at the time. And actually people were talking to each other. Remember those days? And it was the beginning of that. But it is those things that you sometimes read or launch onto, or something within your family heritage, like you said with your mom. There is that side of us that makes us look. We don't realize we're looking at it now, right? When we're teenagers, we're like, oh, love. But it makes those changes in our world, because we come 22 years ago, we did a lot of network marketing, very successful, which is why we're home and for 22 years. But for my kids, it was a little bit of having to listen to the Zig Ziglar and the Jim Rohn and oh, for the love of right. And we listen to music, but we never know what a difference it makes for them. We never know that ingraining will change, like what your mom did with you. As a teenager, you're like, but look at all the years later, and you're honoring that moment.
There's so many things that come up every day that I'm like, wow, like it blows your mind, because it mm-hmm. was a different way of thinking, and you you learned from it. You absorbed it.
Great quick story about Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, that's so great.
So growing up in Texas, he was awarded an award as a little kid as Mr. Texas.
Yeah.
And his mom, every morning, right, she had this picture in the kitchen. And every morning, Matthew, as a little boy, would come in and his mom would say, "You remember, you are little Mr. Texas." And he found out through COVID that on the trophy, on the plaque on the bottom, it actually said runner up. And so he said, "Imagine if my mom would have said you were the runner up, would I be where I am today?"
Right.
Right. So how powerful our language and what we put out there can do for us.
That's right. That's always what you focus on, right? And that's and important enough. That's like Richard Branson's grandma. It's such a great biography because it's the things that we focus on that will really stop us from being what we truly can be. Especially we used to NLP, the favorite one at the blue tree, right? Don't think of the blue tree. No, stop thinking of the blue tree. And it's one of those things that it's where is your mind going at the moment, and how are you using the skills and the tools that you have. And how are you actually moving forward? And are you always investing in your future? Because I always say the biggest way to be successful is have 3 coaches, 2 mentors, and a mastermind. And I talk more about that in depth, and I've done it on calls. But it's having the people around you, but at the same time, what's the messaging that you've received so far? Mm-hmm. And how have you taken that message so far? As people listen to the show, whether you're all driving out there, some people are driving, walking, standing, who knows what you're doing, playing with the babies. In the podcasting world, we know how much you listen to the shows. We know everybody tunes in and out. That's okay. We're busy right now. But, one thing I always like to do with this show is to know that the audience, if they just suddenly they're listening to us and then they go off to Joe Rogan or somebody, they never come back, right? What are 3 things right now that you guys could give advice? It's either, something they could do right now in their lives, that whether it's a wake up routine, a go to bed, a life, whatever that is, what are 3 things they could do right now? They never listen to us again, that they could make a difference in their life if they commit to do it.
Yeah, I'll throw one out and then I'll give 2 to you. Change your focus and change your life, right? Mm-hmm. If you're seeing negative manifestations and you can be aware of that thought pattern and you can change what you're focusing on, you will change your life. Mm-hmm. And as far as others, I would say grateful journal.
Yeah, grateful journal, I was going to say as well. For me, that was a life changer. Adding in things that I'm actually grateful for that I no longer have in my life, which was a little twist to it. And, looking back on your past and writing out everything you did that you aren't happy with and letting it all go, right? Acknowledging it, but letting it go and giving yourself compassion that you're working on becoming a better person. So it's okay, right? We only know what we know when we know it, but we've got to move forward. So let that go, acknowledge that you're moving forward and embrace it, embrace the growth.
And that is that piece about embracing the growth. And I still always go back to, get somebody to work with you. I think the critical piece here is get somebody to work with you, because we'll do more for others than we will for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so if it's Scott and Nancy for you guys, fantastic, but get somebody to work with you, because that will make a big difference as you're doing those techniques. I think that's the critical piece.
Yeah, because you'll only go so far. That's the biggest thing. You'll stop yourself in that process because it gets scary. Things come up. So when you have an accountability coach, it helps you dive into where you really need to go.
Yeah, and it makes, and also for the coaches out there listening to this, and a lot of know who I am because I've trained so many, but I always say this, I'm so careful when I say this. Everybody's a life coach right now. Okay, find your niche, find your group, because 98% of life coaches actually aren't working. It's the same as actors. So you really need to find that place. At the same time, really tag onto something larger than yourself for now in the beginning. That's that piece of get your ego out of the way. And I think that's part of looking at yourself and thinking, it's the posturing that you can do more. And part of that in the beginning starts with tying yourself to another group, another organization. I know I've done it. You guys have done it, and I think that really makes a difference to be able to take your mess. I couldn't have got my mission, my wife and I, especially our mission, out to 1 million people if we hadn't tagged along or been part of larger organizations that already had a machine, and then we could have had ours anytime, but there was a decision made. Why? We're loving what we do. The vision fits where we want to go, and we go from there. So that's been 20 years. Now you guys have a deep background, obviously, in coaching and training, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've been a trainer and a coach for almost 20 years, in a few different realms. The movie industry being the big one for me. When I opened my climbing gym, that was the adventure side of me getting out to really get in there.
Yeah. For me, I'm newer than him. I'm about 7 years of coaching, and again, Tony Robbins, some NLP background, and really, what comes to the surface more often than really any of it is my life experience. What I got to watch the house full of women go through, right? I was just constant, and I was the little kid at the table absorbing it all until I was a grown adult, and then I was there myself. But going through the coaching myself and learning why I struggled in my life to have the relationship that I truly wanted, and going through that to get to the other side really opened up a whole new gamut of possibility. And that's what the coaching side aspect of it now enables me to pass on to others, because now it's like a Pandora's box that you get to open with somebody else and go, it's all there. You just got to dive in and look at it a little different.
And the thing is that the amazing part is it changes every day, and it doesn't. That there's things about ourselves, that even though they don't change, there's a reason that it's there, and it's helping us move forward. This is not sometimes about tearing everything down. And that's where people get really, the fear of that moving forward sometimes is, do I have to be completely different than who I am? No. Sometimes it's just a little tweak. Sometimes it's a little nudge, pace, lead in the NLP world. And that, really makes a difference is we're working with clients, and we've done a little bit of that. And at the same time, we're always working on ourselves. Talk a little bit about, because I talk about it too, you need to invest in yourself to continue to move forward. Sometimes people will say, well, does that cost? Okay, it's a cost to you not to. Talk a little bit about the investment that you've done in your life and the courses you've taken and what's got you to where you're at.
Yeah, great point. I am a lifelong learner, and the amount of training that I've taken would take up all the time to talk about, because I learn all the time. And we just hired another coach 2 days ago, and not an inexpensive coach, right? But we want to level up to help more people. And the only way that we can do that is utilizing others. Nothing great has ever been built by one person, ever.
Yeah. And
we all get in our own way. And so for me, hiring those mentors, hiring those coaches that have gone through what I'm going through, who are successful in where I want to go in serving people, then they're my roadmap. We jump in a car, we have a GPS, so they're my GPS, right? Because we wouldn't jump in the car without it. And there's so much value in their knowledge and how they can take us through what they've already done to be successful in serving others.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, and what they've already done that we're looking to do, right? That's the biggest thing. You're seeking out someone who's already where you want to be, and then following their footsteps of how they got there. And same thing, life learner. I love to learn. I love to research things, and some of it I've spent money on, and some of it I haven't. It's my own self-education. But the stuff I've invested in and put the dollar amount into, it's amazing how you show up so differently than you ever would before. So for me, it's like, I know when it's something that I need to do and go into. If I invest in someone that's going to hold me accountable, show me the way, I'm going to show up very different than I would if I just go and try and learn it on my own.
That's right. And again, you'll do more because of them. And sometimes we're looking for the magic bullet. Everybody wants the magic bullet. And the great thing about this is it takes time. Sometimes you get it the first time. Sometimes, like with, UPW, or I'll do with Harv Ecker's Millionaire Mind Intensive. Some people have gone 20 times and it's the 21st time they're like, you just see the shift and their life is different from then on. But it's having the resilience to keep coming back. It's like the once a year, right, tune-up. Mm-hmm. Having the resilience to do and take those things as many times as you need before you get to the place where it's time to move forward. Because it doesn't always work that way. And I think that's something that's got to be well known. It's not about going to a course one time, you're going to be completely different. No matter what anybody says, the speakers want you to. We want you to be different that day. But it could be years of work while you're still putting into action the practices to create multiple streams of income, because that's all we're ever talking about. Mm-hmm. That's the big buzzword. That's what people truly want. They want to be better and they want to enjoy their life, absolutely, but they don't want the stress of money all the time at the same time. But it's the kind of thing where you go into action, then you get the coaches, the mentors, the mastermind, then you go into action, then you get the coaches, mentors, the mastermind, and keep moving forward. And that's a great point. Yeah. So any last things for this audience before I give them a little wrap?
I don't know. I feel like we've covered on a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Good. We'll do this again, obviously, next year. And also, Scott and Nancy they're part of the Mentor Studio. They're one of the mentors on the team. So you all will be hearing a lot more. We'll do some live calls too. We're looking for big ramp ups. We have a ton of, I think we just booked out over 200 hours of virtual networking and events. We're also already looking at the big stages again for 2021. There's a call. They've already started to book the stages. Everybody's just on we'll go with the flow. And what happens. We always look at like not the entertainment division so much, but we take a look at concerts, large concerts, and they're not really booking anything until the end of 2021. So everybody's sort of looking at what they're doing to see what else everybody else is going to do. But we'll get rolling. All their small events have started already. People are just being careful. Socially distancing. It's very odd to see a room that can seat 300 with 25 people in there spread around, but it works, right? Yeah. It works. Just no high-fiving, right? We don't hug, kiss, and we don't high-five.
Right.
So,
we look so much.
I know. We don't even, right? It's, high five right there, virtual high five. I could give you all the moves. I've done it for way too many years. But it's the kind of thing where we're really excited to have you guys on. So if anybody wanted to find out a little more information, and it will all be on the Mentor Studio, and it'll be under the show notes too. But what's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
You can go to our website, which is scottandnancykiesling.com, or just type Scott and Nancy Kiesling into Google, and there you'll find our Facebook page, our LinkedIn, other avenues as well.
Fantastic. I could spell it for everyone, but right now you don't have to write it down. You just go to the show notes and it will be all in there. That's great. And also, I'll give you guys the advice like I give to everybody else. Make sure that you have a text opt-in. Always have a text opt-in, because 90% of the world is moving to text opt-ins, and people can remember, text, SNN. It almost came out. That can be really bad if you type it wrong. But SNN 5999. People will do that and they'll remember it. And also, audience, remember when they do your text opt-in, just right away, what they get back is not only a little bit of, they get the 5 greatest tips you've ever had. So you lock them into wanting more at that point. If nothing else, you've given them something to walk away with. That's awesome. Always a really big piece. So I wanted to thank you two for being on. This has been great. We always have fun here at the Mentor Studio, mentorstudio.com. Yeah, I learned my lessons with the www. Make sure that you go there, you sign up. Yep, it's $400 a year. It went up. Oh, I know. Isn't that just, what can you do? We're still looking at, obviously, the vision is to take this out to villages and really make a difference in the world. It has been delayed till 2022. That's fine, because we'll really do some prep work before that and really, be a team and a family. We're going to the big virtuals. We're going to the big stages. we're looking for more mentors, but we're probably slowing down on that part. Because we recently, my business partner was Tony's VP for 18 years, and just her coming on board, I think I got more mentors than I know what to do with. But we're still really picking and choosing, which is great. And they're all just on the mission together. So it's awesome. It's awesome to have you two here. From myself and the Mentor Studio, we thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it.
It's been great. All right, everybody, I'm going to do the sign off. This is Michael Silvers from around the world, wherever you are, mentoring in your lap. That's we got to change that one. This is Michael Silvers again with the Mentor Studio from my team and everybody else out there. Thank you so much, whether it's your morning, afternoon, or evening. Make it a great one today. And by the way, for you Aussies, yes, I will be up at 1 o'clock a.m. this morning on a conference call with a bunch of podcasters in Australia. But you do whatever it takes, and I love their accents, so it makes it so much more fun. So, all right, everybody, have a great afternoon, evening, morning. We'll talk to you soon. Myself from the Mentor Studio and my team. Goodbye, everyone.
We're honored that you invested time with us today at the Mentor Studio. Now, don't be greedy. Share this knowledge bomb with all your dope peeps on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Actually, we'll even pay you to do it. To get the deets, please check out thementorstudio.com.